New construction in Ravenswood could soon give visitors a high-tech first stop in town. The city broke ground on an AI-driven welcome center Friday, part of a bigger push to boost tourism and riverfront development. Mayor of Ravenswood Josh Miller said the project will be more than a traditional visitor center. Plans include an interactive AI-based information system plus a restaurant and business incubator space. Miller said the goal is to create a, quote, front door, end quote, to Ravenswood, encouraging travelers to stop, explore, and spend time in the community.
What I want is when people walk into this facility, they can ask any questions about Ravenswood, Ripley, Jackson County, the Mid-Ohio Valley, and that data is on a big screen. Like, you're basically interacting with AI, and you can find out whatever you want about this region. It's basically the front door to Ravenswood, and we want to impress people when they come across that bridge, and we want them to stop here.
Miller said the Welcome Center is part of a larger slate of infrastructure projects in the works, including upgrades aimed at building out a stronger river town atmosphere. He said there's around $60 million in additional grant funds being used to begin the other projects.